What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about Faraday Future, tickers FFIE. So Faraday did go down quite a lot on Friday, and that was largely because of their announcement, so the whole reverse stock split. So I want to talk about what to expect potentially on Monday, what Faraday might look like, and everything else that you need to know. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So Friday, it did go down 15.95%. Huge amount of volume. So 121.65 million shares being traded. 69.59 is the average. And when it comes down to the sell-off that did happen, I do see some people online saying that it was shorts causing all of that. That wasn't necessarily the case. That most likely this was all institutions reducing their position, because under my other channel I cover Mullen, and regardless, even if a reverse stock split is for the betterment of NASDAQ compliancy, institutions still do not like it by any means. So this is why most likely all of this was just institutions selling out their position, because technically if we look at what shorts did today, I'll give you guys a quick overview and why it wasn't necessarily them. So short score is currently 80, utilization is 95.93%. And looking right here, shorts increased 275,000 shares. So a very small drop in the bucket in reality. So this is why technically this was just not shorts. Just be aware of that. Make sure you guys always do your own due diligence, because as well, I am not a financial advisor. But when it comes down to it, 24.18% of the free float is being shorted. 311.59 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 8.87%, so kind of flat compared to what it was. And once again, just looking at this chart right here, borrowed shares, you see them just increasing pretty significantly at the very beginning part of the day. So more so around here. So yeah, once again, this was just more so institutions reducing their position, but I have talked on it quite a lot already in this video. So Faraday did announce the whole reverse stock split and also authorize share reduction. So that one's a little bit more of a positive potentially. But as you can see, the whole reverse stock split was approved for a 1 to 80. They did have anywhere from a 1 to 2 to a 1 to 90 as far as options. So the fact that they are choosing a 1 for 80 shows that unfortunately they are kind of choosing NASDAQ compliancy and guaranteeing that versus shareholder, and kind of trying to benefit shareholders, because shareholders would benefit pretty significantly from a lower ratio rather than a higher one, because at this rate it's really just damaging a lot of longs. But again, I think they're trying to ensure NASDAQ compliancy, like I said, because as it stands right now, they are on their second extension, so kind of final notice when it comes down to that. And oddly enough, I'll touch on the share reduction in a second, but oddly enough, when it comes down to the date that they're doing it, so it's going to be effective August the 28th, so meaning on Monday. So all of this is going to look completely different on Monday. So most likely you are going to wake up on Monday and see Faraday around the $12 range. Some people will be extremely excited who maybe took the day off on Friday, didn't look at exactly what might be coming, so they might be excited. But generally, yeah, that's basically the right here. So the 15.5 times by, or I guess I just used 15 cents. So 15 cents times by the 80. But essentially, if you want to take the full 15.55 times by 80, in essence, $12.44. So that's kind of how it's at. And in case you guys are not aware of what a reverse stock split is, in essence, what does happen is the whole price of shares do go up equivalently to the ratio. So you just take that 15 cents times by 80, and all of your shares that you do currently have is going to be reduced by 80. So for instance, if you had 1,000 shares, so then 1,000 divided by 80, you will have now 12.5 shares. And I believe in the actual rulings, it does say that they're not going to do any fractional shares, so it's going to round down to 12. So once again, that's just something to consider. So when it comes down to it, like I mentioned, the fact that they're doing it on August the 28th is kind of interesting, because they do have up until October the 28th, 2023 to regain compliance. And when it comes down to the rulings behind the scenes, so NASDAQ Rule 5810 does state that Faraday does have to be over that $1 threshold anywhere from 10 to 20 consecutive days, up to the staff's discretion. So once again, the fact that they are doing it on August the 28th versus maybe in September or early October is I don't know, it's very, very interesting. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. But one second part to this is that authorized share reduction that you need to be aware of. And in here, it kind of talks on the rules. So it says that they're going to be taking around 12.3 billion divided by the ratio, and that is going to be the new authorized shares. So if you take this 12.3 billion and divide it by 80, you get about 154 million, if I remember correctly. So I'll just do the quick calculation as I have it right here. So divided by 80. So yeah, 154.4 million is going to be the new authorized shares. And then as far as the outstanding shares, if we're going to be using that 1.49 billion, if we take that divided by 80, it's around 18.6 million. So as it stands, definitely they could dilute a lot more just to ensure, I guess, in essence, that they have enough money for operations and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. Some things to note, I'll go over some additional points that might look different. Options. So based on options for Friday, there was $17,000 in calls being purchased versus 13,000 in puts. So of course, I think the age-old thing about everyone knowing that after a reverse stock split, the stock tends to dip anywhere on average about 15%. So I think this is why people are buying or did buy puts on Friday. But of course, if you do currently have any options in Faraday, your broker is going to provide you with a new options chain. So for instance, if you go over here, I'll quickly pull this up. So for instance, in argument's sake, let's say you have a $1 strike price for September the 29th or whenever, it doesn't really matter, but your broker will make a custom chain for you that you can't essentially buy anymore, but you could sell. So when it comes down to Faraday, there's going to be a whole new options layout. But if you currently do hold options, then yeah, they're going to make a custom chain that you could essentially hold it still, or you can sell, but everything will be customized depending on the broker, because of course, if they're doing a 80% ratio change, so each option is equivalently 100 shares, right? So if you take that divided by 80, you basically get 1.25 shares for each option. So of course, I think this is where things get weird. Some brokers reduce the number of shares, other brokers just reduce the price. So you'll have to contact your broker, whether it be Robinhood or whatever else out there, just to see exactly what their plan is and how they're going to do it. But most likely, the fact that they did announce on Friday, it won't be done on Monday. Most likely options will kick back off on Tuesday. That's just my own guess and based on everything else. So yeah, that's a little bit more of a quick summary as far as some expectations going into next week. But like I said, historically, even after a reverse stock split, stocks tend to go down about 15%. So I don't know if maybe that was why it did go down as much as it did on Friday, just people adjusting based on that. But time will tell, I guess. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Give yourself a shout out if you did buy, sell, or whatever else on Friday. And what's your take on this 1-4-80 reverse stock split? Like I mentioned, the company could have done anywhere from a 1-2 to a 1-90. Higher the ratio is favoring the NASDAQ compliancy, the lower the ratio is favoring investors. So the fact that they did choose a 1-for-80, probably, I'm sure a lot of investors aren't really happy about that. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Take advantage of promos such as Moomoo, link in the description below and also the comments. Completely free to sign up for an account with Moomoo. They also offer $0 commission, free level 2 trading, all the other fun jazz. But if you throw $100 at it, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, and you also get a $50 cash reward. So it's a win-win, only up until August 31st. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching.